Tinubu's spokesman, Onanuga, privately messages Sowore to delete anti-president post. Activist declines request. Human rights activist and Sahara Reporters publisher Omoyele Sowore has disclosed that presidential spokesperson Bayo Onanuga privately messaged him, ordering him to delete a recent post in which he describes President Bola Tinubu as a criminal. Sowore, in a statement on Tuesday titled, "Triggered by my statement, presidential spokesperson Bayo Onanuga writes me to delete my post on Tinubu," said Onanuga contacted him via WhatsApp following the controversy surrounding his August 26 post on X and Facebook. Department of State Services (DSS) has since written to both X and Meta, owners of Facebook, demanding the deletion of the post and the activation of Sowore's verified account, accusing him of hate speech and incitement. In his WhatsApp message, Onanuga insisted Sowore misinterpreted Tinubu's remark during a recent speech in Brazil. He said the president was referring specifically to transparency in foreign exchange, sourcing, and not to corruption in general. Sowore said presidential spokesperson Bayo Onanuga wrote directly to me on WhatsApp, asking that I delete my tweets and Facebook posts in which I referred to President Bola Tinubu as a criminal. Based on Tinubu's recent speech in Brazil, where he claimed that there is no more corruption in Nigeria, Onanuga argued that my interpretation was a misfire, claiming Tinubu was only referring to the process of sourcing foreign exchange and not corruption as a whole. He even cited examples from business figures like Sowore to defend his point, and then advised me to delete my post. Onanuga's message to Sowore: "Good afternoon. Your August 26 tweet that the DSS is complaining about is anchored on a total misinterpretation of what the president said in Brazil. He said there was no more corruption regarding sourcing foreign exchange and that you do not need to know CBN Governor Cardoso to get forex. Prominent business people like Sowore have given testimonies about this. That was what he meant. Nothing more. You truly misfired. I would advise that you delete the contentious post. Good afternoon." It's not going to delete anything. You're just deceiving yourself. Sowore replied. Sowore, however, rejected the request, describing it as an attempt to dictate how Nigerians should interpret public statements by the president. Good afternoon. I am surprised that you consider it appropriate to dictate to citizens like me how to interpret what is already in public domain, especially when it comes to videos and matters that touch on the state of the nation. What is more troubling is that in Nigeria today, anyone who dares to criticize the president is instantly subjected to harassment by the DSS, political thugs, and every coercive instrument the state can muster. I once thought perhaps you were unaware of such abuse, but it is now clear that you are complicit. In this regard, it is you who has misfired. Your request reflects not only poor judgment, but also the mindset of the principal that you represent. Sowore noted that he had known Onanuga for decades, recalling his early career as a student leader in Lagos, when he frequently read Temple, The News, and PM News. He also mentioned working briefly with The News before founding Sahara Reporters. He added that he had asked Onanuga for permission to make their private exchange public, but received no response. He said, "I have known Bayo Onanuga for many decades. Back when I was a student leader in Lagos, Temple, The News, and PM News were our go-to platforms. Later, before founding Sahara Reporters, I even moonlighted as a special correspondent for The News, working alongside Kunle Ajibade and Babafemi Ojodu to produce some of the hottest stories of that era." This clarification is important because it explains why Mr. Onanuga may have chosen to write me a private message over my recent post. Out of respect, I sought his permission to make our exchange public, but he did not reply. So when he did not reply, why are you now still making it public? Earlier on Tuesday, Sowore's Sahara Reporter reported that two loyalists of President Bola Tinubu had vowed to attack and demobilize Sowore during a virtual meeting held in the early hours of Tuesday, you can imagine. According to credible sources who spoke with Sahara Reporters, the meeting took place at 2 a.m. East African time and was convened as part of preparations for the upcoming United Nations General Assembly, UNGA. The 80th session of the UN General Assembly, UNGA 80, will open today, Tuesday, September 9, 2025, in New York, with a high-level general debate commencing on September 23, 2025. Meanwhile, Sahara Reporters gathered that the state governor also participated in the meeting, while one of the individuals who openly threatened Sowore was identified as being from Edo State. A source familiar with the discussions said in the meeting, two overzealous Tinubu boys volunteered to attack Sowore physically, you can imagine. They said that if the DSS, Department of State Services, will not arrest Sowore, they would carry out the attack themselves very soon. Now wow. They said they know his routine. Oh wow. Because they have watched and observed him. They said they would carry it out very soon. The language the person used is to demobilize him. One of the sources expressed shock at the level of hostility directed toward the activists during the meeting. The meeting was convened to discuss preparations for hunger with President Tinubu's UN trip scheduled for later in the week. However, attention shifted to Sowore, whom the loyalists accused of rubbishing their leader. We were planning the UN trip of some dignitaries because Tinubu is not even supposed to arrive in New York until Friday. According to what two of them said, Sowore is supposed to be taught a bitter lesson. Wahala. They clearly said that if the DSS refused to arrest him, they will do it themselves. They said Tinubu is their leader and they are ready to carry out the attack. So it is Tinubu that is sending people to attack people. And that they won't allow Sowore, who has called many names, to rubbish their leader. One of the sources said, now wow. They vow to deal with him. They vow to get thugs and deal with him. We know say na wetin they do very well with that now. Using thugs. You want to deal with him. Even saying that he will be treated the Ganifa when he may be. Oh really? Sowore, a long-time critic of successive Nigerian government and a former presidential candidate, has previously faced multiple arrests, detention and intimidation by state authorities and security agencies. Now wow, they want to deal with him the Ganifa when he may be. No be small thing. Patrick Ovie says these are one of the smart ways they could have communicated with him before running to telling X to deactivate his account and delete his comment. You get? Simple private calls and discussion would have sorted the issue long ago. Not everything is about power. Sowore will not listen to anything. Sowore that I know. Ibrahim Ade says, I said this week's tweet. Anyways, I'm waiting for DSS to go and arrest Twitter for not complying with 24 hours given to them. 24 hours never pass. Patience Apple says, can you imagine if Sowore was from the southeast, by now military will be dancing Cobra dance in that region. It is well within the Igbo. Conflict says, imagine if it was Peter Obi that made the statement. Igbo people no fish shade market in peace today for Lagos. Hey, it is well. Ateren says, but why haven't Reno condemned the post? Or is it because it's not Peter Obi? Definitely. Because if it was Peter Obi for real, Reno would have talked. Why Onanuga would have talked. What was that yeye boy name? The Jadenyoju would have talked. Everybody would have had something to say. But it's because it's not Peter Obi, nobody's saying anything. Wow. My listeners, don't forget to like, to share, and subscribe. Thank you for listening. See you some other time. Bye.